Now, remember back in 2020, remember all those supposedly former national security officials writing that letter saying, oh, without ever seeing Hunter Biden's laptop, that it was likely had all the fingerprints of Russian disinformation. Well, we know that it was an organized effort by Wink and Tony Blinken to give Joe Biden a talking point during his debate against Donald Trump. And tonight we're learning even more thanks to the House Subcommittee on the Weaponization of Government. They have obtained internal emails from the CIA back in 2020. Take a listen to this one. This from a CIA official talking about the letter. Quote, I also love that at least a few of the random signatures belong to individuals currently working here on contracts. Now, remember, that letter was supposed to be from former intelligence officials. Now it looks like active federal government contractors trying to help Joe Biden win the election. What's going on? Here with more, House Judiciary Committee Chairman Jim Jordan and House Intelligence Committee Chair Mike Turner. Jim Jordan, let's talk about this. First of all, they were organized by Wink and Tony Blinken. Number one, none of them ever knew a thing about the laptop. They didn't know anything. And they signed the letter for one reason only, to help Joe Biden win when they knew how damaging that would be to his chances of winning in 2020. Is that election interference?
Blinken calls Morell. Everyone knew Morell wanted to be the CIA director in the Biden administration. Morell organizes the statement that 51 people signed. When he sends out the statement, he says, this is so Joe Biden will have a talking point against Trump during the upcoming debate. After the debate, Joe Biden's campaign chairman, Steve Ricchetti, calls Morell and thanks him. But, Sean, now we've learned three new additional facts. First, the letter was actually reviewed by the top people at the CIA, either Director Haspel or Deputy Director Bishop. We deposed the chief operating officer, Andrew McCradis. He said, I took it to one of those two individuals. They reviewed it. Second, what you pointed out, agents looked at this and said, this is not what the CIA should be doing. This is a bad look for the CIA. This is all political. And third, some of the people who signed it, like Mike Morell, were actually on contract with the CIA when they signed it. That's how bad, that's how political this was. And to your final point, this is something our government had for a year. They had the laptop, and they knew it wasn't hacked by Russia.
And we know that the FBI had verified its authenticity in March of 2020, Congressman Turner. Yep. And they were out there pre-bunking it with all big tech, and that ended up getting that very real laptop story by the New York Post censored nationwide. And poll shows that, in fact, had they not done that, Donald Trump would have won that election if the American people knew the truth.
Absolutely. Well, the House Intelligence Committee got these emails that showed that the manner in which this was presented, and that we now know from the joint depositions that Jim's committee and my committee held, that these individuals openly were talking about doing this letter solely to help Biden in his debate. Now, what that means is we now all know that we saw Biden stand there in the middle of his debate and lie to the American public, because he knew, of course, it wasn't Russian disinformation. When he said, I have a letter that says this is Russian disinformation, there's nothing to this, Biden was lying to the American public. But also, everyone who signed that letter, the IC-51 as they're called, they were lying. On depositions, they, one after the other would acknowledge they didn't even try to verify it. They knew what they were doing. This was totally political, totally for the debates, and they were lies.
Okay. Any possible consequences, Jim Jordan?
Well, we'll look at legislation relative to their security clearances, what they can do if they're going to maintain that security clearance, with Chairman Turner and his committee on that. But I think it's real important to understand, Sean, this happened 15 days before the most important election we have. 15 days before an election, 51 former intel officials sign a statement with their former titles by their name, a statement that was prompted by the Biden campaign, a statement signed by some who were on contract with the CIA, a statement that agents at the CIA knew they shouldn't be involved in, about a laptop our government had for a year and knew wasn't hacked by Russia. That all happened 15 days before an election, which raises one fundamental question. What are they going to try this time? What are they going to try before this election on November 5th?
And remember, Joe lied about the laptop, and that laptop implicates him as the big guy, 10% for him, and 50% of Hunter's income goes to Pops, and Hunter was paying for Pops' home repairs. I think we need answers. I think Joe might need a lawyer come January. Thank you both.